I'm Darrell Goodman, Director of Achieve One for Achieve It Solutions. Today we're going to be reviewing the equipment rental module within the Achieve One suite of applications for SAP Business One on HANA. As we look at the configuration options for equipment rental, you'll see we have the ability to define rental periods. These periods allow us to determine how long the rentals will be. As you can see, we have the ability to do hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, or annual rentals, and have the ability to set price lists for each period, allowing us to set different pricing based on the expected rental period, even for the same product. Our rental setup allows us to configure options and defaults for each rental. This includes the configuration for whether or not we want to do automatic invoicing or immediate invoicing, allowing us to determine whether or not we want to invoice at the time of the rental or at later date, such as over time when there's a long period rental or at the conclusion of the rental. You can also configure options such as credit limit checking and the default rental periods. Price contracts allow us to control who has the ability to rent and at what billing cycle, as well as what to do with respect to defaults for short or extended rentals. The dynamic period allows us to determine if we're going to have automatic extension or returning of products, whether or not we're going to do a proration for an extended rental on a daily basis, or other options, again, such as hourly, yearly, weekly, monthly, or annual. Same is true for if a product is returned early. In our availability settings, you can see we have the ability to control if we want to look at the availability and the committed quantity, as well as the amount that's out for rental, reserved for future rentals, or currently on a vehicle awaiting for returns. Lastly, we have the rental approval. Rental approval allows us to configure options like the SAP Business One approval procedures works that can use queries to determine any condition that you wish to control your rental process. Additionally, we have the ability to turn on web functionality so that the approval process can be managed via the web. User settings allows us to set by user what each person is allowed to use for the renting. As you can see, I'm configured for 3 different price contracts with hourly rental as my default. Additionally, it allows me to configure the different warehouses that will be used during the rental process so that I can keep control over my inventory on a per user or per location basis. You have the ability to define a default project as well as dimensions. Looking at the approval templates, you can see that it works like the SAP and that I can define any query as being able to control which originator will work and the different stages and terms. As we move to the equipment rental functionality, you can see that we offer the ability to create rental quotations, allowing you to offer the pricing and reservation of material in advance, the actual rental order itself, a delivery management functionality that will allow us to control the shipment of rental product, rental replacement in the event that something is out during rental requires a replacement for breakage or other functionality, the return of rental products, an integration with the SAP service management system allowing us to have service calls, as well as invoicing, ensuring that your rental invoices are generated inside SAP Business One so that they're completely integrated with the rest of the ERP system and reports. As we look at a rental order, you can see that it acts like any other marketing document inside of SAP, allowing us to specify information about who we're selling to and for what period it's going to be used. In this case, you can see that the periods are enhanced to allow the rental to determine when the end date will be for the return, as well as, again, allowing you to control the warehouses that will be used during the rental process. As we look through the different tabs, you can see that we have the contents allowing us to see what's going to be rented. And here I've mixed the rental so that I'm renting a generator on an hourly basis, as well as a porta potty for a daily rate. This allows us to configure that we want to rent the generator possibly for initial setup for, in this example, 3 hours, whereas we're going to rent the porta potty on site at the job site for a couple of days. The pricing allows it to be extended and it calculates a total that can be used to explain to the customer what their expected rental value will be, at which point you could invoice this like you would a sales order, or you could let it sit and go through later invoicing. Additionally, you can see that this was based on a quotation, so that the rental order works that you can copy from a quotation, or you can directly enter a rental order in the event that you have a straight walk-up. When you have a quotation, you have the option to determine whether or not the product will be reserved in advance, allowing us to ensure that when we provide the quotation, the customer will in fact be able to come in and get their material because it was reserved for them. As we look at the contents, you have the ability to look at the availability. You have the functionality to be able to look at their availability and can see the data in a chart view or a graphical view. As we look at the lines, you can check the availability. Availability information can be seen in a table format or a graphical view. As we look at the graphical view, you can see that it shows us the available, committed, on-vehicle rented, reserved, and a subtotal of all of the items that are used on this order. When we convert it to a graphical view, we can see this information on a calendar, allowing us to get a visual representation of the product's availability over time, which is particularly useful if someone is looking to see if there's going to be product in the future, or if what they want to rent is not reserved out going into the future. As you can see, we have those same options that we had before, being able to see the out, reserved, and vehicle, as well as being able to control the colors of each. Finally, we can look at the order details, which will show us the current serial numbers that are used. So you can see here we have Generac serial number 3, as well as Porta Potty serial number 4 on this rental order. If it had been returned, we can also see the return date so that we know whether or not the products have been returned on a long-standing order, as in this case we expected the generator to be returned and the porta potty to stay on the job site. The logistics tab gives us information similar to base documents in SAP, giving us ship to addresses, shipping types, sales employee, but adds the ability for us to determine the delivery type, which can be a customer pickup or a vehicle delivery. In the event that it is a vehicle, you can also configure the vehicles to be warehouses such that the inventory can be tracked from your rental warehouse onto the vehicle and then from the vehicle onto the customer's job site. We have printing ticket functionality, as well as being able to work with the accounting to determine the payment terms, any invoicing details that have already occurred, projects, and you also can control the immediate invoicing series if we do immediate invoicing, attachments allowing you to capture photographs, contracts that are signed, or other documents that would be appropriate for the rental, and a full integration into the SAP service module, including a service contract as well as service calls. As we drill into a service call, you can see here that you can have them be available on a break fix or preventive maintenance functionality. Again, this is the standard SAP Business One service module, so all of the functions that you expect are available. However, we extended it to be able to link to the rental orders, and this gives us the ability to include any of the solutions or expenses, attachments, or scheduling of techs that you might need in order to go out and perform a service call. Now, the service call, again, could be a break fix in the event that there's an error, in this case with the generator, or you could have a preventive maintenance routine so that in the event of a rental like the porta potty, if you need to provide cleaning services, you can go ahead and use the service module to schedule those. As we look at the options, you have the ability here to process rental orders so that if you have orders that are going to be given over time, you have the ability to come in here and mark them and be able to get them out for pickup or vehicle delivery, allowing you to do this in bulk. We also have a delivery management function. The delivery management functionality allows us to look at the rental orders that require loading so that we can pull them and put them onto the trucks, a delivery indicating that we've actually delivered them to the job site, as well as a return indicating that we need to go send the truck out to go pick up the material, bring it back. Rental order extension allows for the dynamic extension of orders if something is going to be used for an extended period of time. And rental replacement allows us to review the equipment that's on a rental and replace it in the event that something needs to be replaced due to wear or breakage. As we look at the replacement, you'll see here that it gives us the ability to indicate which units are being replaced. So in this case, we'll replace the porta potty, serial number 4, and we can choose to replace it by viewing a repair, allowing us to specify a repair warehouse, and we can choose the repair quantity. Additionally, we can link that this should go to a service call. When I process this, it will prompt me to be able to determine whether or not I have replaced the unit or I've repaired the unit on site. So in this case, it's going to prompt me to determine whether or not I have the unit that I want to process. So we'll go ahead and we'll auto select that. And now it's going to allow me to replace it with a different unit. So we'll replace it with porta potty number 2. And okay, so at this point, it wants to know which item we're going to repair. So we'll go ahead and we'll select serial number 4, indicating that we're going to repair number 4. And then we're able to redirect which serial numbers we're using. So we'll go ahead and use serial number 3 as the replacement. And we've indicated that we have the repair warehouse, that we want to initiate a service call, and we'll go ahead and process this. So we also have the rental replacement, allowing you to be able to take an in-service product and replace it in the event of wear or repair needs. So as I indicate for my rental order that I want to update the porta potty, you'll notice that I have the ability to indicate where I'm going to take the product for repair, and I can indicate the quantity, as well as determine whether or not I want to automatically initiate a service call. As I process this, it will show me the available serial numbers on the rental order. So I'm going to indicate that I'm going to repair the porta potty number 4. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take that porta potty back and replace it with a different porta potty. So we'll replace it with porta potty number 2 and process this to ensure that we have a successful replacement. Now, if we would go back to the rental order, we would see that serial number 2 is on the order details. Additionally, we can do our rental return. The rental return allows us to select the customer who is returning it, and we can choose the orders that are being returned. In this case, we're just going to choose rental order number 5. And you can see here that it's showing me that I have a porta potty, one rented, and I can choose that item that I want to return it. And again, I can determine what I'm going to do on the return. So I can just put it back into my rental stock, making it available for additional rental. I can choose to repair it. I have the ability to talk about consumed quantities, as well as being able to indicate whether or not this is a no-charge return. Finally, we have the ability to do the automated service calls, as well as invoicing. I'd like to look at the reports, giving us the ability to look at the availability of items, the rental order details, any incoming items that might be coming back so that we can prepare for that, any outgoing items that need to be picked so that we have the ability to prepare for those rentals, as well as a rental analysis. When we look at the rental analysis, it's going to give us insight into our rentals so we can see the outstanding rentals, the order numbers, how much they're for, as well as the net service rental and gross profit. This gives us insight into the financial performance of our rentals. This concludes our video on the equipment rental module. For more information on equipment rental or the other modules within the Achieve One suite, please visit our website at www.achieveits.com. Thank you.